Hello, in this academic writing video, I'm going to be talking about how to write a strong conclusion. Generally speaking, academic writing has three sections. So you have the introduction, which of course introduces your essay and whets the appetite of your readers. Secondly, you have the body of your paper, which is the meat of the essay. It provides the details and the main evidence of the argument or theme which you are perpetuating. And finally, you have the conclusion, which summarizes key points and does reiterate what you said throughout your paper, but it also importantly leaves a good impression, a good last impression with your readers. And the conclusion is what I'm covering in this video today. Now, the conclusion is quite possibly the most difficult part of your paper to write. Now, let me start by highlighting what a conclusion should not be. Now, firstly, your conclusion should not just be copying and pasting your introduction. Now, while you will be reflecting on your argument and how that was drawn out in your body, it should not simply be a rephrasing of your introduction. Secondly, it should not just be a review of what you covered in the body. It is important, of course, to include this as part of your conclusion, but this is not all that your conclusion should be. It should move beyond just summarizing the points you've made in the body. And thirdly, the conclusion should not introduce new information. It's not the place to make new arguments. So a conclusion is not, strictly speaking, rehashing old information that you've already brought up in your essay, nor is it the place for anything new. So what is it exactly? Well, a conclusion will certainly, at face level, remind readers of everything that they have just read, and it should remind them of your argument and the pathway that you took throughout the body of your paper to arrive at or support that argument. You ought to include then a review of what was covered in the body, but this isn't all that the conclusion is, and indeed it's not strictly the point of your conclusion. Your conclusion is to offer you the last chance to persuade your readers, to persuade them why this is an important topic or theme, to convince them of the arguments that you've been trying to make. A conclusion is the last impression that you give your readers of the topic at hand, and a well-written conclusion should leave a good impression. Now, the best way to leave this impression, and indeed the best and most well-written academic essays will strive to do this, should move beyond what has been covered in the introduction and the body of your essay. And indeed, if you are a postgraduate watching this video, this should really be your aim. So you're not just rehashing what has been written in the paper, you're thinking further, thinking about further research which can be done, or thinking beyond what you've covered in your paper to how the issues covered might have broader implications. Now, this is a careful balance. You don't want to be too emotive. You should still avoid language like wonderful, amazing, or other such superlatives, but you do want to leave your reader feeling something. They should feel like reading this essay was worthwhile, that it contributed to something, that it challenged their thinking, that it did something. And indeed, to do this will mean incorporating a summary, as it were, of what you've covered, but also making them think beyond what you've covered. Now, in this video series on how to write a strong essay, I have been alluding to this silly demonstration essay in which I say, imagine that I'm writing an essay on why everyone should own a dog. Now, I have created some examples of what a good conclusion, what a mediocre conclusion, and what a bad conclusion would look like in light of what I've covered today. This is on my blog, so please do head over to my blog, the link is below this video, to see some examples of how you might try to navigate this balancing act to write a strong conclusion. Thank you so much for watching this video on writing a strong conclusion. If you haven't already, I would recommend you watch the other videos in this series, such as writing a strong introduction, how to write the body of your paper, and how to write a strong paragraph. If you have any questions or comments, do leave them below, and please do subscribe to this channel. Thank you.